congratulations on the big win last week. That was a ball game right there.
Oh, it was kind of like an old school air raid shootout.
Yeah, it's
The
whenever
defense and coach, that
they
wasn't fun.
whenever you guys, I was late in the game, and not to go so specific, but they had Oklahoma tried the old quarterback runs out, and I mean, you guys pop Gabriel. I mean,
Yeah,
I thought it was over. I didn't think he was coming back in the game, and it was all legal. I mean, it was. It's a two-part question. Like, how do you coach your guys? Because everybody's, your head has got to stay up. You got to go shoulder to shoulder, and sometimes that's unnatural because you're just running as fast as you can trying to hit someone. One, how do you coach your guys to always pay attention to that because it is such a bang bang play? And then two, you had to think he was out of the game for the rest, right?
yeah, I did. I mean, tough kid. I mean, a lot of credit to him because he got hit really hard, and the backup had to come in for a play. I thought he was, but man, he's a competitor and a heck of a quarterback. But we work it. Part of our tackling circuit is the strike zone area, especially in space. You have to nowadays, or you're going to end up losing some of your best players. And so, we really try to work it. We do it a lot with pads because it's hard to simulate some of those hits. And I always talk about see what you hit, trying to keep your head up. And Reggie does a good job. He had two really big hits in that game. One earlier that was probably even more violent than that one on the running back, but both of them are really clean tackles.
Where is the line for you in spring ball or in, we'll call them two-a-days, even though that's not exactly what it is, when you're starting practicing back, before week one, in actual contact? Because as you said, you need it because you can't sim
Yeah.
everything, but also you can lose players just like that for games or a whole season. What's that line for you?
Well, one of the big things that we really focus on is like the tempo of practice. We just got through practicing, and if you have to where a pro like a shot to where it's going to be face to face, or you're at an angle almost like 10-2, then we're going to thud up. It's going to be everything that a tackle is going to be except for taking them to the ground. And then once you don't have that angle, if you're coming from the side, then we tag off. You've got to get in a really good position. I mean, more than likely that play you're going to, gator roll them and go low, to try to get them down. And so we spend a lot of time showing examples of that. We spend a lot of time bragging on our players that do it right. They're going to hear a very loud head coach if they do it wrong. And then we talk to our guys all the time about being pros, and that's like a lot of different levels. Being a good dad, being a good husband. You're going to be a professional at something, but also playing on Sunday. And the fastest way to get cut in the NFL is not being able to practice the right way. If you take somebody down in the NFL, man, you're going to get cut. And so that resonates with them. And so it's a lot of practice habits.
We used to play bull in the ring. I know you look at me and think for
Yeah.
sure Bobby's a former athlete, massive dude. I know, I get it, coach. People see me all the time and they're like, he must play still. But we used to go full bull in the ring, and you get in, I mean, it was just boom, boom. Do you guys even do that stuff anymore?
No, the NCAA has actually outlawed it, so you can't do it anymore. They've changed a lot of stuff, which is good. It's really good for the game. Because I remember the same thing. I remember bull in the ring and the Oklahoma drill and
Yeah.
everything else like that. And so you can't do that anymore.
Do you ever have to stop yourself? Because obviously, if a big play happens, good or bad, there's a camera on you. They may not go to it. They may go to it. But do you ever? You're either so mad or you're so confused, and you have to go, okay, I'm on camera. I need to control because this is for sure going to be viral, or this is for sure if I react in a way that I feel, and so I'm going to temper
Yeah.
it back. Does that happen in your mind?
It happened that way Saturday. We jumped off sides like 4 or 5 times, and or had procedure penalties with the offensive line. And the last one, I said something to my right tackle, and he said it was the left tackle, and I lost it on him. So at that point, when I was losing, I was like, all right, I got to calm down. But one thing we talk about as a program, I mean, literally, is talking about what's next, like, and so I think there's a lot of hypocrisy in coaching if you can't be that what's next, being able to get to the next play and then try to take care of it whenever you get to the sideline or in another time, even the next day. And so we talk about it all the time. It's hard to do, but it's easy to say, hard to do, but we just keep practicing it, and hear people even saying it to me, what's next, and that's kind of the trigger word of, get to the next play.
This is kind of a cliche question, but I ask about it specifically because I've been to Lubbock a bunch. I've toured Lubbock. Our show is on in Lubbock. I've been in Lubbock many, many times. I'm very familiar with the town. I think one of the things that people will say, and I like Lubbock, I think one of the things people will say is like, why would you ever go to Lubbock? It's one of the arguments against Texas Tech. Now, you have a top 25 recruiting class, which I just saw. And so, and on top of that, it's, the first time that you guys have had a winning record in conference since like over 10 years. I don't know that.
Yeah.
So what are the ingredients that you have there that is, kind of eclipsing that to make people go, we want to go to Tech and we are going to win?
Man, it's a bunch of things. I think it's the people that we hired. We have a very positive, lot of energy whenever you come in this building. I was a high school coach for 23 years, so I think I have a lot of Texas ties to where a lot of the high school coaches trust, what I say I'm going to try to do for their players. I'm going to try to do it every single day. The university is amazing. I mean, you come out here, you can go to med school, you can be a dentist, you can be a nurse, you can go to vet school. So you have a lot of different things that you can study. We're really big on, getting these guys to really appreciate the education and study what they want to study. And I think the biggest thing I tell Red Raiders a lot, we have been our own worst enemy at times by saying that it's hard to get out here, and it's not. I mean, there's a plane taking off every 30 minutes from Love Field from Dallas to Lubbock. There's a direct flight to Austin. There's a direct flight to Houston, and our competitors, like Oklahoma State, you can't fly into Stillwater. Like Ames, Iowa, you can't fly into Ames, Iowa. So they've been recruiting at a high level. Why not Texas Tech? And so we have no excuses whatsoever. We recruit our tails off, and I think it helps knowing the coaches like we do. I have 7 other former high school coaches on my staff. Some of them coached for 20-something years, and some of them only 1 year in high school. But there's a lot of relationships built to where guys trust that they need to come out here and see what we have to offer.
Yeah, there's a Southwest flight to Lubbock constantly. I mean, I think Lubbock is often overlooked. I like Lubbock. As far as college towns go, I think Lubbock's actually pretty great. Yeah. And I think it's just been said for so long now that people say it without even being knowledgeable on what they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. The first, I got hired before the season was over last year. So I got to do a lot of recruiting, and watch them. And the very first game, it was the second game we were playing Oklahoma State, and Spencer Tillman, which I know, he was doing a game, and I went up and met with him 10 minutes before, and I said, hey, I had this spreadsheet of, hey, y'all are going to say, because I've heard you say before, it's hard to get to Lubbock. Guys, let me show you how it's not hard to get to Lubbock. Like, stop saying that, and it's funny, the stuff that people say, of course, they're going to say the wind blows. Well, yeah, it blows a little bit in the spring, but I'll tell you this, there's no humidity in the summer. I went to one of my coach's weddings in Houston. I stepped off the plane, and that humidity hit me in the face because I'd been out here in West Texas and there wasn't any humidity. The mornings are absolutely incredible. So there's so many things that I think people have used against us, and we're here to flip the script and get people to understand how special this place is. Not to mention we have an administration that has committed $200 million to a brand new facility that is actually breaking ground. Like, as soon as we beat OU, they were already bringing in stuff to knock down the south end zone. And so, we know talk is cheap, and there's a lot of universities that park a bulldozer next to something and say, hey, we're building something, and it doesn't happen for 4 or 5 years. Well, there's already stuff being done and dirt being moved to build this new facility.
You have a storied high school career, which you mentioned. Did you, as you were coaching, who was the best player you played against as a high school coach where you were like, golly, I've never seen anything like that before?
Kyler Murray.
Oh,
He
really?
beat me twice. Yeah, he's a dude, man. I got to coach him in the Under Armour All-American game too, and know him and his dad really well. And so offensively, Kyler Murray, and then a kid that played at Wake Forest and played for the Giants for a while, Nikita Whitlock. Nikita was like all ACC, and he played nose guard at about 5'11", 230 pounds, and you just couldn't block him. And did the same thing in college.
Have you talked to Matt Rule since he took the Nebraska job?
Oh yeah, we're usually that's my guy. We're usually texting every day and probably on the phone once or twice a week. But he and I were texting last night and was fired up. I really, I was going to support no matter what because he's a good friend. But I was glad he didn't sit out. He's not a guy that can sit around. He's a guy that needs to be around players, and he's good for college football. So I'm glad he got back in. And I thought that was, I sent him a tweet because there was a tweet a couple weeks ago or last week that said Iowa State, where they finished and beat Iowa. And he said, "Are you trying to get me to take the Nebraska job?" And not going to lie, I really kind of was, because I think it's a perfect fit. Nebraska and him.
Do you think your son will hop over there with him? Is there a possibility of that?
They talked. I think Garrett is going to try to stay in the NFL. If not, his butt better be in Lubbock, Texas. I've offered him a job, and I told him, I said, "You take care of what you need to take care of right now." And he talked to Coach Wilkes, and said he's all in and focused there. But I think at some point, he'll make a decision at the end of the year to either stay in the NFL, which he's got an opportunity to, or come here to Lubbock.
I got 3 questions for you left. I want to introduce you to Eddie. Eddie, this is Coach McGuire. If you want to say what's up.
Hey, Coach. Good talking to you. I have a question for you. I want to ask you about halftime interviews. So you're down 14 points. You're running to the locker room. You just want to get there to talk to your team, but somebody stops you with a microphone. Coach, talk to me real quick. What are you going to do in the second half? Do you like doing those interviews? 1 and 2, how do you come up with your answer so quickly?
Well, first I try to focus on being really nice. And then usually I do have a notepad that I write stuff down that I'm going to talk to the players in at halftime, just constantly throughout the first half. And so usually, because I've written something down that I'm going to hit them with, there's probably already a thought in a different way to say it, but probably already a thought in my head to be able to say to the reporter at halftime.
Yeah, those I always feel awkward for the reporter. I just feel, because they know, and they know, and it's like you've already agreed to do it, so you do it and you get out of there, right?
Yeah,
that's tough.
And you just try to. The way I look at it too is, we're both trying to do our jobs, and we can help each other through that. It might not be right there at that point, but you just try to always. We talk about it as a team. You try to treat people the way you want to be treated, and they're gonna have us again, or they're gonna be on TV, and if you treated them right, then whenever you've screwed up a call or something like that, at least they're not gonna just totally destroy you.
All right, now we got 2 questions left, and this one I like a lot because you beat both Texas and Oklahoma in the same year, your first year. That had actually never been done before at Tech, where you beat them both in the same year. Which was sweeter, Coach? Don't say both and the same. Which was sweeter?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I'm from Texas, born in Texas, never coached anywhere else, never lived anywhere else. So I would probably say that first one, University of Texas. The other thing about that, it was packed. I mean, there was nowhere to even move in that stadium, and it was just an incredible atmosphere. And so I would probably say that, and just the history of Texas Tech in Texas, of coaches leaving Tech to go to Texas. I think there's a good rivaled hate. And I use that, it's a strong word, but I think if you were here in basketball season, you definitely would have said the same thing. So I think that first one.
Man, what a year. Your first year taking over that program, you beat them both. That
Yeah.
Oklahoma game, my wife is a massive OU fan, and I'm from Arkansas, so I'm a massive Arkansas fan. And I don't like Oklahoma, but I fake it because I don't want to have a fight at the house. But I was rooting for you guys so hard in overtime. I mean, when that game went to overtime, and it's hard because when you guys, when you pop Gabriel, I was like, yeah, oh no, you know, you got to like keep it in, even though you don't. Coach, congratulations on just a wonderful first season. If we look to next season, which this will be the last question, like what have you learned here this year that you would like to do differently next year as the head coach of Texas Tech?
God, it's been such a great year just because of the buy-in that we've had from our team, you know, and that's tough the first year. You know, the biggest thing that we continually talk about is, you know, I think we're 115th in the country in sacks given up. Now, I know we throw the ball, so that's going to always show up, but you know, we just got to continue to grow to protect our offensive line, quarterback. That's all of us. That's play calling. That's, you know, so I think a lot of stuff in the offseason will be focused on getting better up front. We're already starting to experiment with some stuff because we have so many. We got 10 starters coming back on offense and possibly 7 back on defense. So we feel like we're going to have a really special team. And so just kind of keep building that. And I think that's a big focus, you know, and we just keep being positive with our kids, man. We love our kids and we want their best part of their day when they walk into the football facility, that's their best part of their day, that they see guys fired up to see them. And so we're just continually doing that.
Do they try to get you to change your name? Because my name is Bobby, and it's my real name, Bobby. Yeah. But it was like, when are you going to go by Bob? And I'm like, I'm not going by Bob. I'm not a Bob. Do they go, hey, Joe, why don't we go Joe? They ever try that with you?
Well, whenever I got the job in 2003 at Cedar Hills being the head coach, they asked a reporter, asked me, what am I going to go by, Joe or Joey? And there was a guy that in Denton Ryan, Joey Florence, that had just won a state championship. I said, well, it's worked out for Joey Florence. I'm going to stick with what my mama calls me.
That's right.
My mama calls me Joey, and so I've stuck with Joey. Where are you from in Arkansas?
From Central Arkansas. It's a town about 700 called Mountain Pine, and Little Rock, lived there.
Oh yeah,
spent obviously a lot
on
of
my
time.
mom's side.
Really, they're from Arkansas.
Yeah, I grew up a Razorback fan. We had season tickets.
Where'd you grow up?
We moved. So I was born in Texarkana, and so I was born on the Texas side, of course, and then all my family's from East Texas and Arkansas. So, in fact, my cousins were out here. They live in Fayetteville. They were out here for the OU game this last weekend. So,
who was the quarterback when you were a fan as a kid?
Grovey.
Oh man, Quinn's my dude. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Barry Foster, Quinn Grovey, Juju Horshaw. Man, those teams in the Southwest Conference, you know, they went 3 years. I think it was 3 years in a row winning the Southwest Conference in all 3 major sports. And so, man, you growing up in that era, you just I loved Arkansas. It'd be cool, you know. It's a possibility of playing them in a bowl game, so that'd be pretty cool if we do.
Yeah, but I'll just act like I don't know you. I'm just gonna be honest. I'd be like, you're cool and all, Coach, but yeah, loyalty. Coach, congratulations, really cool. And I'll just officially let you know I'm entering the portal myself. So if you need me, let me know. It'll be up on the site. You know how to get a hold. Yeah. Congrats, Coach. Thank you for your time, and good luck to the Red Raiders in bowl season.
Hey man, thank y'all so much for having me.
All right, Coach.
Thank
See you,
man.